Hey everybody, my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and what I'm going to do is just quickly talk about the minimum wage. One, just talking about why the minimum wage doesn't work, and then talk about what does work. So first off, right now there was a recent study by the city of Seattle on its own policy showing that the minimum wage policy within Seattle has not worked out very well. And it's all over the news. There was sort of a very pro-minimum wage organization that put out a parallel study a couple days before in order to sort of disinflate that bad news by putting out a report saying there is no effect. But again, you have to take a look at the organizations that put out a lot of these studies. It doesn't mean you should discount any study in hand just because the organization they have has a tilt. What it does mean is you have to take that into consideration and examine the way they came to their conclusions. Because oftentimes they're going to try to come to a certain conclusion. Doesn't necessarily mean the data they collected is bad. It may be, but they may try to interpret the data in a way that leads to their conclusion. So again, I'm not saying discount studies in hand just because of the organization they came from, but look at them skeptically, look at them thoroughly. So just wanted to put that out there. But again, this study, the one that everyone's talking about, came from the city of Seattle itself, showing that the minimum wage is having a negative consequence not only on the amount of employment, but the overall wages for a lot of workers. Now, let's just talk about what the minimum wage is in the first place. The minimum wage just means that you're setting a floor to how much you can hire someone. Now, what happens is, imagine that I were to make, say, the least you could pay for a Big Mac was, or let's say any sandwich, a burger, the minimum cost for a burger must be $10. So it doesn't matter what burger it is, they cannot charge less than $10 for a burger. If you pay less, you are breaking the law. Would you buy a double cheeseburger? Would you just buy a plain cheeseburger from McDonald's for $10? No. So the market for that sort of burger that commands a lower price just is not going to exist. Okay, and that's essentially what happens with workers. When I say I have to pay at least $15 an hour regardless of the worker, well, then you're only going to want to buy workers that are worth $15 an hour. In the same way that if you have to pay $10 for a burger, you're only going to buy like a Shake Shack burger because it's a burger that can command $10. Pretty much nothing on the McDonald's menu you're going to want anymore, because you're going to be like, well, for $10 I might as well get more. So then what happens is that the workers who need the jobs the most, the workers who can command a lower wage because they have less skills, less experience, just can't get work because, again, now anecdotally we do see increases in productivity after a higher minimum wage, but that makes sense because you're going to be hiring higher level workers. Again, you're hiring those $15 an hour workers. But the problem is that $15 an hour worker who can command $15 an hour has skills and experience that could have been better used elsewhere. So now you've deprived all of society of the extra productivity that person could have provided because you're having them work a lower skilled job because you played with the prices that people pay for. Okay, so now you have people who can't get a job at all because they don't have the skills and experience, and you're taking higher level skilled and experienced people away from jobs that could better use those skills and experience. So this is a double whammy for the economy and the productivity in the economy, and that hurts everyone's wages because the economy overall is producing less. Cool. On top of it, just the effect on whether the employers can pay for it, especially where they target, which is a restaurant or food businesses. They're the ones with the smallest profit margins. Okay, people always point at McDonald's, billions or millions and billions of profits. McDonald's is not a restaurant company. McDonald's is a real estate company. The reason why McDonald's has such huge profit margins is because it doesn't actually run or operate most McDonald's. They're franchises. The cost of all those individual workers at a McDonald's store are the expense not of McDonald's the corporation, but of the franchise owner, who has like a 3-4% profit margin. Okay, which can easily become no profits with a tiny increase in labor costs. Now, to understand this, take a look at a company like Wendy's, which actually operates its own stores. Okay, Wendy's has more like a 3-4% overall profit margin as a company. Why? Because it operates its own stores. It takes on all the overhead of running a food business. McDonald's does not. Most McDonald's stores are not run by McDonald's. Those costs are actually revenue to McDonald's because they charge the franchisers the right to use the McDonald's name. McDonald's becomes a supplier to all those franchisees. They basically support these entrepreneurs who are getting a franchise. Same thing with the companies like Subway. So when you take out companies like when you target companies like Subway and McDonald's, you're targeting the person you're punishing is a small franchise owner. And actually a lot of them are immigrants, especially with Subway. Most Subway owners that I know are immigrants who this was their opportunity to improve their stake in life by putting their assets, the assets they have so far built up during their time here, to go get that franchise, to provide the next generation a better life. And you're putting those costs on them, not on the Subway Corporation, not on the McDonald's Corporation, because the labor costs are on the franchisee. But people say this argument, take a look at McDonald's profits, which is a dishonest argument. Same thing goes for Walmart. If you take a look at Walmart, has huge profits, but it also has a lot of employees. And if you take a look at how many new stores they open every year and how many new people they hire every year, pretty much if you divided all those profits among all the new people they hire every year, it looks like pretty much every year all their profits go into growing more Walmart stores and growing locations. Actually, I think the last couple of years, Walmart profits have gone down because sales have gone down and retail is going through a slump. So again, by hurting the company, you're actually hurting all the other employees because stores will have to close. People will lose jobs because people just look at the big number of the aggregate profits. It's misleading, it's dishonest, and it's frankly immoral. Now, how do you fix things? How do you make things better? You don't make things better by saying, I'm going to take a little bit more from this person to give it to this person, because then you don't have anything more. You're just playing a seashell game. And then what happens, you don't realize the effects of the seashell game. It's kind of like playing with the ecosystem. You say, oh, well, I don't like the wolves eating the sheep, so how about we get rid of the wolves and we just have sheep, and now you have an overabundance of sheep and the whole ecosystem gets messed up. It's the same idea. Now, if you want there to be more, you need to take less, okay? You need to reduce the burden of taxes and regulations on everybody. But what people misunderstand is that when you lower taxes, when you lower regulations, it isn't about putting necessarily more money in your pocket to go buy stuff. In part, it does do that a little bit. It's more about increasing the incentives for investment. If it's easier to start a business, more people will start businesses. And if it's cheaper to start a business because the tax and regulatory burden, and again, it's not about the amount of taxes you pay, it's about the cost to just even prepare those taxes. But if that overall cost to comply with the regulations, to hire the lawyers to make sure you're following all the rules, the cost of accountants to make sure you're paying all your taxes, and the taxes themselves, you lower those costs, it becomes less intimidating and less expensive to start a business, where people who are less well off can start a business and they can bring themselves out of poverty. Instead, you're just making everyone poor. It's frankly immoral, it is disgusting, and it angers me. And this is why I constantly have to speak out again. So basically, you need to lower the burdens on society. We may disagree or agree on what government should or shouldn't do. But regardless, in doing all that it does, you need to reduce the burden, the cost of it. So does government really need to do everything that it does? Okay, we may disagree on what is absolutely necessary, but we need to have that discussion and move towards that so we can lower those costs and create those opportunities and not have deficit spending, have a balanced budget. All these things are actually going to have positive effects for the economy in different ways. Now I'm kind of getting off topic, but bottom line is you want people to have more, you need to take less from them. For example, you lower that burden, the business has more money. The individual workers have more money because less of their paychecks being taken away, less of their profits are being taken away. That business can hire more people. Those employees can spend more money. Everyone benefits. But right now, the government is just taking more and then ask the employer and the employee to fight with each other over scraps. And that's not the way we move society forward, by giving people less and less and less and asking them to fight for what's there. That is just breaking up the cohesion in society and destroying the community aspect that we have in a truly free enterprise society. My name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com. Have a great day and enjoy.